This is VSiN's College Basketball Betting Podcast. Here is your host, Tim Murray.
We keep it rolling here alongside Matt Youmans. I'm going to say that 3 times so I don't mess it up again. Matt Youmans. I am Tim Murray. And, Matt, today I went into the closet and I said, I didn't have the full-on turtleneck, but I went sweater and I went green.
In honor of Mike Bray.
It's because our next guest is a big fan of the turtleneck, and that would be now former Notre Dame men's basketball coach, 23 years up there in South Bend, the winningest coach in program history, led that program to multiple NCAA tournaments, more than multiple, and 2 Elite Eights. Mike Bray, Coach, joins us right now. Coach, I'll say this, you moved away from the turtleneck as the years went on. You kind of went more of the open collar look. What happened?
My daughter finally put her foot down. God, this would have been 10, 12 years ago, and said, "Dad, you got to get out of that thing. You just got to." But the mock got a lot of W. I got a lot of W's out of the old mock. Fear the mock, we used to say. And I was on a show 2 weeks ago, and I broke it back out. I just had to do it one more time. But I changed it up and got a little more comfortable, and certainly great to be with you guys today.
Well, we appreciate it. And, not as Matt knows, as a big Notre Dame fan, but also a guy from the D.C. area, it was a no-brainer if we could get you to come on. But more importantly, I just want to talk some hoop with you. And I know you've been watching this tournament very closely. And, we started the show, Coach, talking about everybody out there will say, it's a wide-open season. But it really felt that the entire year. And these 4 teams are kind of indicative of what this season has been. This is the first Final Four we'll ever see, or we have ever seen, I should say, that has no 1, 2, or 3 seed in it.
It really is an example of what college basketball has become and how old college basketball has gotten. It's old. It's old because a lot of kids got the extra year with the COVID. You have a lot of 23, 24-year-olds playing, and they can move around freely with the transfer rule. And so you can bounce back quickly by way of that, and with an extra year of eligibility and the freedom to transfer with immediate eligibility. And, Florida Atlantic is an unbelievable example of, if you just took the names off their chest and you had their 5 out there physically, that's a Power 5 group of young men, and I underline men. I mean, they're men, and San Diego State we knew was going to be old, and actually Connecticut probably has the most young guys, quite frankly, and Miami that we saw a lot of here, old guards that know how to play and set the tone. But when you look at what happened in the tournament, and we were a 6 seed a couple times, and we got nailed by Old Dominion and Winthrop, and you thought they were going to burn my house down. Now 1 seeds go down, 2 seeds go down. It's unbelievable, and so it makes for one hell of a march. And this weekend, Saturday, obviously, is going to be really interesting to watch.
If they were going to burn your house down, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Matt Painter's house. Anyway.
No. I'm sitting there. It's you live vicariously through each other in this crazy business. I couldn't watch it. I could not watch because I've been on that side of it where you're the higher seed, never won. We were a 2 and a 3, but you got the weight of the world on you, and all you're doing is getting tighter and tighter.
Yep.
And the other team is loose and shooting from 32 feet and chest bumping. And as a coach, you're trying to smile and get them loose, but you're tighter than your kids, but you're faking it. I turned it off. I said, I can't watch. I just can't watch.
I see exactly what you're talking about there. All right, this is interesting. Last time I watched Mike Bray coach in person was at the Maui Invitational at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Maui, Vegas. We weren't very good there. We stole one from Chaminade, and we blew the St. Mary's game and we blew the Texas A&M game. But we were in Vegas for a week there, and of course, I always used to spend a week out there in Vegas with the recruiting calendar. But it's changed. We used to be out there for a week watching the prospects play. So I've spent a lot of time out there watching basketball and missing curfew, quite frankly.
Mike, I did want to ask you, okay, so I believe if you ask 10 coaches, which is the best team in the Final Four, I think all 10 are going to say UConn. Do you agree or disagree? And what do you think Miami's got to do to upset UConn on Saturday?
Well, I would agree with that because in December, watching, I just said, I said to myself, they're the best. Connecticut's the best. And then they hit their snag. And then you're in your league, and I didn't really pay attention to what was happening with them, but they sure look in gear again. And they are confident and got an edge about them, and they have all the pieces. Miami, with their guard play, they'll always have a chance. And again, they've got nothing to lose. They're kind of playing with, Connecticut's the favorite, and we can just wing it. And what were they down 13 the other day, and just said, let's just hoop. And their guards can take over and do things. So I think it's a great matchup. I would not be surprised to see Miami win the game. But Connecticut just seems to have all the pieces right now, especially the way they pound you inside with their size.
We're talking to Mike Bray, former Notre Dame men's basketball coach. You mentioned Miami. You guys played them back in late December, Coach, in South Bend. They're not a team that goes very deep, and historically, that's kind of the way you coached as well at Notre Dame. If you're Jim Larrañaga on Saturday evening, do you worry about the depth and the size too? Because Omir's been playing really, really well down low, and Matt and I were talking about that, Coach. But ultimately, Sanogo and then Klingon off the bench, how does Jim Larrañaga kind of overcome the lack of size against this massive UConn team?
Well, you mentioned Omir. There's an example of one of the great pickups from a so-called mid-major, a man who shows up. And I watched a little bit of Miami back in December. I said, oh, my God, now they got that physical. They didn't have that physicality last year. They had Wong, obviously, and certainly they picked up Pack. But the one thing about older guys, and we've been in that rotation a lot, older guys can play almost the whole game. They know how to play. They know how to pace themselves. They know how to play without fouling. And I think Omir will understand how to adjust to that. And he plays a lot bigger than he is. But he can mess around and get 15 rebounds, even though he's not 7 feet tall. I mean, he is a flat out, that's a man who showed up ready physically. And man, he's been such a difference maker because they didn't have the physicality in the post last year, and man, they have it with him. And Miami's going to play the way they play. They're going to come at you offensively. They're going to let their guards go off. They're going to guard you sometimes, and then sometimes they're going to rest on me. But all of a sudden, they can go on a 10-0 run because of how gifted they are offensively, and get going. So. It's certainly a challenge with the bodies that Connecticut throws at you. They almost burnt my house down for this comment a couple of years ago. I said, depth is so overrated in college basketball. And, oh, my God, Mike only's going to play 7 guys. I can't believe it. And really, when you have old, gifted players like Wong and Pack and Omir, they want to play the whole game. Actually, it's hard to sub for them. When you sub for them, they look over at you like, yo, coach, I'm good, man. Leave me alone. and you learn as you get to be a veteran coach, you do leave them alone and let them play.
Coach, we only got about a minute and a half left. I want to get your thoughts on this San Diego State Florida Atlantic team because these two teams do go very deep on their bench, especially FAU. They love going to their bench, and no one really plays over 30 minutes on their squad. So how do you see the early Final Four games, San Diego State and FAU, playing out?
So impressed with the job Coach Dusty May has done. I mean, physically, what they have built down there is it's amazing and it's cool. It's a great story. I just think San Diego State has a bit more toughness and edge and belief that this is our time. This is the group that's been pointing, to do it. I think it's a great physical matchup, but I'm so impressed with the mental and physical toughness of San Diego State.
All right, Coach, in the final 30 seconds, it seems like your UConn San Diego State Monday night. Are the Huskies cutting down the nets?
I'm going to go with the Huskies, the old Big East. I'm not part of the ACC anymore, so they can't find me. They can't find me for rooting against Miami. But certainly Jim Larinaga is a good friend. So thrilled for him. But I just think the swagger and the edge and the confidence that UConn has right now. I'm going back to my old Big East day and the Huskies.
Well, and UConn has a DeMatha guy on it, so you can't go against your high school alma mater. So there you go. Hey, Coach, we appreciate the time and the insight, and enjoy retirement. Kind of weird to say.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but stay tuned, and great to be with you guys. I'll hit you up when I'm in Vegas.
There we go. There he is, Mike Bray.
Visit VSiN.com to get current odds, listen for free, find showtimes, and download VSiN sports betting podcasts.